Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the add-ons community meeting for March 27th, 2019. This is our last community meeting of Q1. Q2 for us starts on April 1st. So happy end of Q1 to everyone. I'd like to start off this meeting by acknowledging some friends of add-ons and giving a quick little shout out. My first shout out goes to Shivam, Suhail, and Anushka for helping us implement some links that link from the Developer Hub on AMO over to Extension Workshop. That was something that kind of came in and we wanted to get it done in a relatively quick amount of time. And we had some really great contributors who stepped up and made that happen, which is really awesome. And additionally, as Shivam noted, that was Anushka's first PR for open source. Yeah, it was her first open source contribution. So, woo woo, yay, Anushka! Come back and keep hanging with us. That's pretty awesome. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Shivam and Vijwa, who hosted an add-ons meetup for Mozilla Punjab last weekend. We saw some really great tweets, so hopefully they'll be able to give us a quick little, maybe in the notes section, Shivam, do you want to write a quick update about like how many people attended and like what topics you covered or
Yeah,
anything?
I will write a blog. I will write a blog and share in next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. We love reading these blog posts, so that's awesome. So yeah, thanks everybody for being an awesome friend of Mozilla over the last couple of weeks. All right, so we're going to move on to our discussions and updates. Um, Hello and welcome. I wanted to just as a gentle reminder, just remind everybody of Mozilla's community participation guidelines. So anybody who contributes to the Mozilla project it does so under this kind of like code of conduct about how we should treat ourselves. Part of that code of conduct means, don't harass people, be respectful, don't assault anyone. So I've linked to the community participation guidelines. The only reason I add this here is that if you find yourself the target of harassment, we don't like as you're working on a Mozilla project, like we don't want that. And I just want to make sure that everybody here knows about the escalation path for reporting an incident. So if you find yourself uh, on the other end of somebody who is not abiding by the community participation guidelines, please do file an incident report with our inclusion team. There's some instructions at the bottom of the community participation guidelines. And of course, you can always talk to me. I say this because we had an incident over the weekend where a developer was unhappy with a decision made in review about his extension, and some harassment came out of that. And we don't love that. And we definitely, for people who are volunteering for Mozilla, that's just not appropriate. And we would really like to mitigate that impact as much as possible. Unfortunately, people are people, and there's always an element of uncertainty, but we want to do our best to make sure that everybody here has a positive experience working with Mozilla. Sylvain, thank you so much for adding this quick note. So just as a reminder from Philip, if you are dealing with rejection of an extension on AMO, please do restrict your communications to the reviewer email. CCing others via personal email is not helpful. It will create side conversations that other reviewers may not be aware of. So just dealing with it in the communication tools, using the reviewer email, that kind of helps everybody who needs to be aware of situations, make sure that they have access to be able to follow what's going on and be able to take action appropriately. Any questions about the community participation guidelines? Okay, cool. If you do and you'd rather talk privately, I'm happy to talk. The other thing that I wanted to kick the meeting off with saying is just to quickly signal boost. We have a couple of students from the University of Washington who are working on a capstone project where they're working with Mozilla to create an API that will allow extension developers to add voice functionality to their extensions. So this sounds like a pretty cool idea. They're hoping to learn a little bit more from actual extension developers about how they might use this API and what they would expect it to be able to do. So if you're interested in kind of helping them, I think, do some preliminary research before they start designing and building this out, please let them know by filling out their Google form. They're basically just asking for contact information so they can get in touch with you and learn your thoughts. So please feel free to share that around with all of your extension developer friends too. All right, so because we are wrapping up on Q1, I thought we could look forward a little bit into Q2. Some Q2 plans are still being finalized, and I think everybody who's interested in this call, you can expect to hear a little bit more about some of our Q2 plans starting next week. We're gonna be making a quick presentation at the project call on Monday morning. That's morning Pacific time. And that call is open to all Mozillians. We'll be sharing that out with our known community members after that internal call. So just that's a heads up that we've got some more stuff brewing. But I thought I would turn us over to Jorge really quickly to just kind of give us a brief view into some of the stuff that we do know is coming down the pike for Q2 for AMO.
Yeah, so I have a couple of things. I'm going to share my window. Just give me a sec. So first I'm going to talk about abuse reporting. I think I mentioned this before in this meeting at some point. But we have a prototype now that we can show explaining roughly how this is going to work. So the idea behind this is to enhance abuse reporting by making it work in Firefox and not only on AMO. And when we were designing this, a bunch of new ideas came on how to make it more useful. And those ideas are also going to be ported back to AMO. This prototype is based on Firefox only, but we are going to take this same UX and port it to AMO so that they're both in line. All right, so what you see here is the add-ons manager. Oh, by the way, the link in the doc, I'm not sure if you can access that. There are some links that require logging in. But anywho, there are going to be a couple of entry points for the abuse report flow. In this screen has the context menu open, well, the three-button menu that's going to appear on the right edge of every add-on card with some options. One of them is to remove the extension, and below that there's going to be an option to report it. Also in the extension, the action button, you'll be able to right-click, and there are going to be some options there with the extension. Additionally, you can get to the report flow if you remove the extension. So if you choose to remove the extension, you're going to get a confirmation, and from there you will also have the option to report something. So either you report something directly, or after you remove, you get the option to report, which is something that Chrome also does. So if you choose to report it and then remove it, you're going to get to the report flow. So this is how it's going to look. You're going to get this modal dialog where you'll be able to first select the reason for which the extension is being reported. So we're going to have a set of categories. I'm not sure if this is the final list. We went through a few iterations on this, so there might be some updates. But this is like the general idea. Like there are going to be reports for add-ons that you think are malicious, or add-ons that have spam, things that change your settings, if it doesn't work, if there's content that you think is inappropriate, or if you can't uninstall. And there's going to be like a something else category in case none of those apply. There's also a bit of an explanation for some of these categories, and a link to documentation on like that expands on what each category means. So at this point, you would pick one category and then choose next. In this case, the category was damages my computer and data. And on the next step, then you would be able to add text to that. So you would be able to expand if you want to on the reasons. This step is a bit different depending on the category you pick. There are a couple of categories, like when the add-on doesn't work, where we'll show something different. If there's contact information for the developer available, we'll show that and tell you, like you can report this to the developer. And also there's a category for copyright issues, I believe, where you'll also get a link to the process that you can follow to get content taken down because of those reasons. So we have those different paths that should make it easier for people to know what to do in those situations. They'll still be able to send the reports, but because they are classified, we will be able to focus on the ones that are most important, which are probably going to be the ones that have to do with malicious behavior or changing settings or that kind of stuff. We're not going to be focusing that much on things like that are closer to support requests, but we still allow people to send them because we know they do it anyway. Let's see. So then you click on submit, and that sends the report. So if the flow didn't start by you removing the extension, after you report it, you're going to get the option to remove it also. So those two things are kind of connected, and you have those choices. And that's pretty much it. That's the experience that's going to be implemented in Firefox. For AMO, we're going to take the flow, basically the category selection, and then the optional text input with those exceptional cases as well. So that's the part that we're going to port back to AMO. We don't have the bugs for those yet, but they're essentially the same thing that I just showed you. And yeah, the idea is that the admin tool is going to be a bit more advanced because we're going to have different categories, and we'll be able to prioritize certain categories over others. And Philip also Philip has been working on the spec for this admin tool, so they have some ideas on how to prioritize things and how to triage all the incoming abuse reports so that they're much more useful than what we have now. So yeah, that's the general idea for abuse reporting. I don't know if people have questions or comments.
I got one. Those reports inside Firefox for extensions, it goes internally to Mozilla. It doesn't end up like a user review on AMO, right?
That's correct. They are only for internal use. They're not going to be published in any way. And actually, on this screen, there's a little note at the bottom that says do not include any personal information because Mozilla is going to keep a record of this. But yeah, none of this is going to be public.
Okay. And you said that something similar will be developed for AMO so that users on the website can do the same thing. Is that it?
Yeah. So right on AMO, we already have an abuse reporting feature, but it's fairly simple. So we're going to adjust it so that it works like this one.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'll move on to the next topic. Let's stop sharing. So this is related to what Caitlin was talking about before, about a developer being kind of abusive towards a reviewer. We talked about this yesterday. Well, one of the reviewers, Arsman, reported an issue for that. The link is in the doc, asking for ways for us to anonymize reviewers so that they are not connected, so that the reviewer identity is not connected to the developer identity, and that doesn't keep that path open for certain people to submit negative ratings or other or just try to affect the reviewer in other ways that are negative just because they got a rejection or whatever. So the idea we discussed yesterday, which you can see in the comment, the follow-up comment in the issue, is that we're going to develop a pseudonym system so that reviewers can basically set a separate alias for their reviewer identity. And that alias is what's going to be used for communications. So the reviewer email is going to say that it was by this alias, and also in the Dev Hub where developers can see like reviewer activity, they'll see like also the alias rather than the user account. And we decided to go with pseudonyms rather than being completely anonymous because developers could get very confused. They're talking to different people and there's like different tones for different decisions. So we want to make sure that at least you can tell the people apart, even if they're not associated with their developer identities. So yeah, we just talked about it yesterday. I posted the comment yesterday. It's something that should be fairly easy to implement, so it's probably going to happen in the next few weeks. Questions about that? Yep. Okay. That is all I had for today.
Awesome. Thanks, Jorge. All right, so we've got some things heating up over in the themes world. I'm really excited to report that we are in the final stages of getting paperwork signed to bring on a contractor to work on Firefox Color. So Firefox Color was originally developed by the test pilot group to help with theme development and management. And Test Pilot was retired a couple of months ago, and that team has been redistributed to other projects. So we, at the same time, coincidentally, Personas Plus, which was our in-house theme helper, was kind of breaking, and it would take a lot of fixes in a lot of really nasty fixes in Firefox to unbreak it. So we've kind of taken over ownership of Firefox Color. Firefox Color had some outstanding issues from the last time it was under active development with the test pilot group. So that's going to be our first our first milestone, is to get rid of the test pilot branding and fix those issues that had come up. We're also hoping that we're also hoping to land a feature where you can create a theme on Firefox Color and then publish it to AMO without having to download the file and then go over and re-upload it into AMO, and toggle the, actually toggle the different properties within the AMO wizard generator. One thing that just came up is that some of the properties that Firefox Color currently hooks into are going to be deprecated in Firefox 69, which is coming out at the end of the year. So if you're using those properties and you submit a theme to AMO, you are going to see a warning message saying your extension will be published, but it does warn that it will deprecate in a couple of months. So I did want to make that public service announcement to everyone. So once our contractor comes on board, we'll feel free to say hi to her. She's going to be getting started on some good first bugs over in the Firefox Color directory, or repository. We're probably not going to be accepting code contributions for contributor for a while until she gets onboarded. When she's a little bit more familiar with the code base and she can review and approve pull requests from other contributors, we might we might open that up a little bit more. So thanks everybody for your patience while we get her onboarded and get her fixing some stuff. So that's really exciting. I'm excited. So extension workshop, I want to give a hats off to Iona, one of our QA folks over at AMO. She is amazing. So we've got a couple, so we're still working on getting the link set up between AMO and Extension Workshop. Part of it is going to involve doing a light redesign of the logged out view of Developer Hub to give you the option to either log in to AMO or to go learn more over on Extension Workshop. So that's kind of cooking. That'll probably be coming down in the next couple of months. And then once you're actually logged into the Developer Hub, we're just going to work on a little promo banner that's going to that's going to advertise Extension Workshop if you want to learn more. For phase 2, so the next big push that we're doing right now, we're calling phase 2. Basically what we're doing is we're migrating a lot of documentation over from MDN over onto Extension Workshop. So anything that's Firefox specific, we're going to be pulling off of MDN and putting onto Extension Workshop. And this has come in as a request from MDN who want MDN to be kind of like a browser neutral resource for all web developers. And so because the Web Extensions API is shared with Chrome and Edge and Opera, a lot of the stuff about specific APIs and manifest keys can remain the same, but a lot of things about like the AMO review policies and how to create a good listing, that content and information that is going to move over to Extension Workshop. So we just had a kickoff meeting with our design and development firm Turtle yesterday afternoon. So that project is going to get underway in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing to ask if you want to review some of the wireframes as a quick sanity check before anything goes, before we move. Have a couple weeks of build over the summer, and then it should be wrapped up, I think, by the end of August. So we should have a finished product that folks can take a look at and get their development needs from. So in the meantime, I think there's a couple of open issues that I'm going to be taking a look at later today. So good times with Extension Workshop. Any questions about either of those two projects? Okay, cool. And then I just wanted to circle back and let everybody know, we tried to send a survey to enterprise extension developers because we don't know anything about them. We don't know who they are, how many they are, what their needs are, what kind of extensions they're building for their enterprise instances of Firefox. Because we don't really have a good way of segmenting that audience, we sent this survey to the enterprise mailing list with 6,000 people, and we got about 12 responses. So we still don't know a lot of information. So if you are an enterprise extension developer, if you know someone who is, if you would like to share your thoughts on what would be helpful, where the pain points are, and how we can make those better, I just want to throw that out there that we are all ears and we would love to hear from you. And potentially in the future, we might be able to rerun the survey once we have a slightly better idea of whose shoulder to tap for feedback. All right, so those were all my updates. Any questions? Anything interesting that anyone else is working on? Okay, cool beans. Well, I'll wrap it up today. Thanks everybody for joining us again. Really appreciate it. And we'll be talking with y'all in 2 weeks. So take care until then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.